Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is the Friday news dump. We're gonna load off a bunch of stories here before the weekend. Some things that have happened just hours ago and things that have been going on and hit the big news. This is Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look at the news 10 to 15 minutes before we start, find some news stories, and then report on them with no caffeine in our body. So, what's in the headlines today? Today on Before Coffee, Schiphol invests billions from baggage to basement to working conditions. And German apparently deported Afghan criminals to Afghanistan.
And weather news, Typhoon Shanshan hits Japan.
We're talking about the UK's smoking ban plan and how some MPs are reacting to it a bit too dramatically.
Well, in worker abuse, hikers leave behind Cowoker in mountain retreat, and a woman dies in her office and is ignored for 4 days.
In culture news, Morrissey claims Johnny Marr ignored lucrative Smiths reunion offer, and Basel chosen as the host city for Eurovision 2025.
And it's National Beach Day, so life is a beach. August 30th, 2024 on Before Coffee.
Oh, right. Life is a beach. Sometimes it gets everywhere, and you have to take a shower to get it out. Sand everywhere.
You get sand and everything.
Some news coming from Schiphol, one of the most overused, one of the most populated airports in Europe, as they're investing 6 billion euros over the next 5 years to improve working conditions, services, and infrastructure at the airport. According to Schiphol, this is the largest investment plan ever in the airport's history. Okay, this is from NOS News. CEO Peter van Oord states that Schiphol will be working on the baggage basement, climate control systems, escalators, aircraft stands, and taxiways. At the same time, the working conditions of all employees must be improved. Schiphol previously invested 3 billion euros in expanding and improving the terminals. Schiphol announced the plan this morning when presenting the figures for the first 6 months of the year. In that, the airport transported 31.8 million, more than 10% more passengers than the year earlier. The bottom line was a net profit of 224 million. Wow, that's a lot. And of course, when you self-invest 6 billion euros, you get to write that off in your taxes. That's a fun little fact for you for the Dutch tax system if you self-invest. Don't know how it works everywhere else, but hey, can I take 8 billion? I spent 8 billion last year on myself. Thank you. However, Van Oord has concerns about Schiphol. Speaks of a successful May holiday in which travelers were unfortunately not helped by the state of the infrastructure at Schiphol. Yes, that's right. Back in May, there was a delay, and a lot of passengers were left waiting in line because they just couldn't handle all those passengers. They weren't ready for it. That is currently far from what we want to offer as a quality airport in the Netherlands. He calls the 6 billion investment plan crucial to restore the satisfaction of our passengers and good service to our airlines. Schiphol is still struggling with major staff shortage. Earlier, a survey by the FNV trade union showed that a large portion of employees, such as security guards and baggage handlers, are concerned about work pressure, absenteeism, and safety risks. Investments will also be made in better baggage handling. 2 years ago, Schiphol made the news with major problems, when thousands of suitcases were left behind at the airport and many passengers had to search for their luggage for a while. My bag is still missing and it's been 2 months. Recently, the system malfunctioned again, resulting in hundreds of abandoned suitcases and many frustrated travelers. And the worst part about that is it's not the people, right? It's the airport that has to deal with that problem as well. Because when they mess up, they're the ones who have to find out who this belongs to, find the address, hire somebody to send those suitcases or luggages back to the person's house or wherever they live so they can get their stuff back. So I'm pretty sure you're not charging them the shipping. Maybe, I don't know. Have you ever had to deal with this problem? You've traveled a lot.
What? The airline losing my bags?
Yeah.
I've got lots of stories.
But like,
do
they charge you the
my bag
shipping
over and destroying
for getting it back?
What?
Do they charge you the shipping for getting your bag back?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
They
So
never replaced my broken luggage, though. They gave me a voucher.
Okay.
Oh, so I got to spend this at your airline, and when I buy a ticket, but the airline destroyed my bag. Oh, that's what I wanted. Exactly.
Okay.
I feel like I'm totally recompensed.
Yeah, I don't really feel like using you guys as a service anymore.
It's like Northwest Airlines isn't an airline anymore. They got swallowed up.
Well, there's a reason, I guess.
Well, I don't know if that was the reason.
But basically, the idea is that if they mess up and infrastructurally on baggage handling, the airport is the one who has to pay out the costs. Hence, they need to make sure that doesn't happen so they don't have to worry about extra costs in their business. While it is encouraging to see our financial results improving, our overall financial performance is not yet satisfactory, CFO Robert Carsau said in a statement. Realizing our ambition requires a significant increase and acceleration of our operational cash flows without losing focus on our competitive position. The previous government initially wanted to reduce Schiphol in 2 steps. From the end of 2023, there had to be a maximum of 460,000 flights per year, and then later to 440,000. In November last year, the plan was put on hold because it encountered legal objections. The Supreme Court also ruled last month that the government cannot simply reduce the number of flights. Hey, stop accepting flights. Okay, how do we do that exactly? The problem is I don't know if the airport is in control of that. I guess in a way you could think of an airport as like an arena, and the airport companies or the airline companies are like, hello, I would like to have 5 shows in your airport on Thursday, and then they have to say, yes, we accept these 5 shows. But then I guess the government was saying, no, you need to tell them you can only accept 3 shows from that, like, every day, and you can't be playing 5. So, but the Supreme Court said you're not allowed to tell an airline company or airport company what they can, how many shows they're allowed to play. No, only 3. So they didn't pass that regulation. In, I guess, more government overreach news, another short story from Germany. This is on Der Standard by, I think it's always on the bottom of these. Some people put the author on the bottom. No, I don't know. I don't know who wrote the article, but thank you, whoever wrote it. The author is Der Standard. Berlin, Germany has deported Afghan criminals to Afghanistan for the first time since the Taliban took over 3 years ago. The German government has now confirmed this. These were Afghan nationals, all of whom were convicted criminals who had no right to stay in Germany and against whom deportation orders had been issued, says the government spokesperson Stefan Heberstreit. A flight from Leipzig to Kabul took off early on this morning. 28 people are being taken out of the country in a Boeing 787, a chartered plane from Qatar Airlines. According to information from official sources, each deportee received a €1,000 cash bonus before the flight, writes Der Spiegel. The authorities have not confirmed this. A doctor is on board, according to media reports. All those affected are men, the German press agency has learned. So these are people who've been convicted of crimes. I don't know what crimes. Robbery, theft, murder. It doesn't say. So there's no level here of crime. Just they're criminals. They've been deported for breaking the law in Germany. And according to some, to rumors from Der Spiegel, they were given €1,000, I guess, and dropped off in Kabul. Or maybe they're still going there. They might have landed by now if it took off this morning, like at 5 a.m. or something. And all of them are men. So that's just the facts. You can make your own judgments from that. Among those deported are said to be dangerous people, which is subjective, you know. Ah, that person robbed someone. That's pretty dangerous. Or, you know, murder. I don't compare those two as the same thing. I.e. people whom the security authorities believe are capable of committing serious politically motivated crimes. Okay, so they're terrorists, I think, including attacks. It is conceivable that some of the deported criminals are also considered dangerous. As an American, I've always had a distaste for these people could be terrorists as a line. That's why there's people currently locked up in Cuba still at Guantanamo Bay, because they could be terrorists. They've never actually done the crimes, but they could commit. I could be committed, you know. Anyone. How they're determining this is usually prejudicely motivated. It's not all factual. Like they didn't ask some sort of psychic. Can you look into the future? Do they commit terrorism? But
yeah, the potential.
Yeah, potentially considered dangerous criminals. In this case, German authorities organized the deportations with the mediation of Kader, reports Der Spiegel. This meant that there was no need to negotiate directly with the rulers in Afghanistan, which has always been considered a red line. Those required to leave the country were brought to Leipzig during the night. Baden-Württemberg, Bavaria, Berlin, Hesse, Mecklenburg, Western Pomerania, Lower Saxony, North Rhine-Westphalia, Rhineland-Palatinate, Saxony-Anhalt, and Thuringia were apparently involved. So a bunch of provinces involved in this. Germany's economic minister and vice chancellor, Robert Habeck, has welcomed the deportation of Afghan criminals from Germany to their homeland. Murders. Okay, well, here we go. Here's the prejudice coming in. Murderers. Okay, I agree. Islamists. I don't know what being an Islamist is a crime, but according to this guy, that's a crime, and you should be deported for that. Rapist. Yes, that's a serious crime. I agree. Serious criminals who abuse our protections must leave the country, the Green politician told the Reuters news agency today on Friday. Okay, like 3 of those things? Yeah. Maybe not safe for society. Being an Islamist is a bit like generalizing in a whole religion. They're dangerous for Germany's society because they believe in one other prophet and they don't think Jesus is also a prophet. This is that is why it is consistent. At the same time, Habeck warned that the right to asylum must remain untouched, so that innocent people, those being persecuted and victims of violence and terror who have fled from Islamists, can find protection. Important to make this distinction, Habeck stressed. Maybe this is just a bad translation, because I feel like it's probably Islamic extremist in German or something like that, but in English they just say Islamists, which I guess that means something bad. The deportations have been prepared by Chancellery and the Interior authorities for 2 months. So this has been planned for over 2 months. After the terrorist attack in Solingen that left 3 people dead, they also have symbolic effect. Only on the 29th, or yesterday, did the German government present a comprehensive package of measures in response to the attack in Solingen. Interior Minister Nancy Fraser, SPD, announced that Germany would implement deportations to Syria and Afghanistan very soon. A major reparation and deportation package had already been set in motion before the deadly attack. The suspected perpetrator of the attack, a 26-year-old Syrian, was arrested last Saturday, which was, let me look at my calendar because I can't do math that quick, 24th of August. The German Federal Prosecutor's Office believes the crime had an Islamist background. The case sparked debate about deportations and possible failures on the part of the authorities. Yeah, but you just deport people from their background? Meanwhile, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has announced tough talks with European partners about the return of refugees. The Dublin system has not been working for a long time. We cannot beat around the bush, said the SPD politician in an interview with Der Spiegel, published today. The background to this is that in 2023, Germany submitted more than 70,000 applications to other Schengen states to take back refugees who had already applied for asylum there and should have applied for it. However, the number of actual returns was only 5,053 people. Schultz pointed out that the recently agreed Common European Asylum System, CEAS, created a new solidarity mechanism but still had to be implemented. Yeah, Germany's a big country and they took a lot of refugees from all sorts of places, especially during the refugee crisis back in 2014, 2016. So, but it seems like a lot of those refugees actually applied for asylum in like several different countries, and they just took the one that accepted them first, I guess, or processed them first, which Germany did not appreciate because I guess they were really good on the bureaucracy, and too good because they accepted way too many refugees. But there's my story out of Germany and out of the Netherlands. On to yours about weather. Weather will survive another natural disaster.
Well, on to the Far East, I guess. The Far East. Japan. This
Not
is
that
from
far from me, to be fair.
DW.com. Say what?
It's not very far east from me.
Huh?
That's all I said.
Oh.
It's the same distance as
Okay, well, it's where
California.
the day starts.
Yeah.
It's the start of the day. It's the Far East. According to our clocks, it's the Far East. Typhoon Shanshan hit the southwest coast of Japan on Thursday, bringing heavy rain and gusty winds. At least 3 people were killed as millions were evacuated and thousands of households lost power. 1 person was missing, 2 were severely injured, and 5 suffered minor injuries because of the typhoon. Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshimasa Hayashi told reporters. As this typhoon is moving slowly, total amount of rain could be rather big, he said. Big. That must be a Japanese translation. They use big instead of large or immense. Big. Big doesn't quite, doesn't put in the awe in the adjective department. Big. Oh yeah, I get it. Big. The typhoon made landfall near Satsumasendai City on the southern island of Kyushu around 8 a.m. local time, and with winds gusting up to 252 kilometers per hour. The storm moved near Hudson City in Nagasaki Prefecture about 1:45 p.m. at about 15 kilometers per hour. We asked that people living in areas expected to flood or to be at risk of landslides evacuated as soon as possible, Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said in a post on social media. Officials said that more than 5.2 million people have been given evacuation notices. Authorities have issued the highest level of alerts, evacuating several people and warning of storms, floods, and landslides. Winds tore walls, broke windows, and blew tiles off roofs and houses. Objects could be seen strewn on the roads and hanging on poles. I've never experienced such a strong wind or tornado in my 31 years of life, Tomoki Maeda told Reuters news agency. 1 person is missing and 39 people are injured in Kagoshima and Miyazaki prefectures, reported public broadcaster NHK. The Japanese Meteorological Office said the risk of a disaster due to heavy rain can rapidly escalate in western Japan as Friday approaches. Please exercise maximum vigilance against violent storms, high waves, and high tides in Kagoshima, as well as landslides, flooding in low-lying areas, and overflowing rivers in southern Kyushu, it said. Torrential rains have hit Japan since Tuesday. An elderly couple and their sons in their 30s lost their lives in a landslide in Yamagori City in central Aichi Prefecture earlier. A landslide earlier this week killed a couple and their son. That was in the Japan's Aichi Prefecture. Automaker Toyota has stopped production of at all of its 14 plants in Japan, whereas Nissan and Honda have also halted business at their Kyushu factories. Chipmaker Renasa's also temporarily halted production at 4 factories. Japan Airlines canceled 275 domestic flights on Thursday and 13 on Friday. ANA Airlines also canceled 212 domestic flights for Thursday and 42 for Friday. An official told AFP news agencies that about 26 were injured in the city of Miyazaki which also saw a tornado. So Japan gets tornadoes, not very many. None of the injuries are life-threatening. More than 100 buildings have been damaged. People holding umbrella, but that's for a picture. Authorities have issued the highest level alerts, evacuating several people and warning of storms, floods, and landslides. More than 200,000 houses were without electricity in Kyushu. Our home is fine, but there was a tornado in Miyazaki and the power went out in some places. It's worrying, student Ao Nishimoto told the AFP news agency in Fukuoka. Earlier this month, Typhoon Shanshan hit Japan, causing blackouts and affecting hundreds of flights and trains. As far as canceling them. There's your story on the typhoon in Japan and the planets, the Mother Earth, basically just having fun with this. Back to you.
Okay. Well,
back to you.
Yeah,
okay.
I heard you. Sorry. Let's hope that everyone stays safe. I know in Japan they've been talking a lot about the mega quake. They're expecting it to come. So every time something like this happens, they're like, is the mega quake coming? Can we survive the mega quake? But it looks like scientists have said that not this time. At least not this year. They don't expect the mega quake that will flatten the entirety of Japan. So don't cancel your tickets. I hear a lot of people like, I'm canceling my tickets to Japan because natural disasters, like, it can happen anytime. Don't cancel your expensive 12-hour plane tickets to Japan just because of fears of a mega quake. Anyways, back to my next story, which is about the smoking ban that the Labour Party is trying to pass in the UK, and there has already been some conscientious reactions to that. But first, let's just talk about what the actual plan is. This is from Will Durant on The Independent. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer has not ruled out smoking ban in outdoor spaces like pub and gardens, hospitals and university campuses, children's plays areas, and sports grounds. So, what is the government's policy on smoking and vaping? Asked about smoking yesterday on the 29th, Sir Keir told reporters he would take decisions in this space and warned that smoking kills more than 80,000 each year. Yeah, and it also kills my pleasures of smelling fresh air, because my neighbor smokes into my window and then I have to smell that this whole time I'm just sitting in my house. So that's a preventable death, the Prime Minister said. It's a huge burden on the NHS and of course it's a burden on the taxpayer, he added. More details will be revealed. Labour's election-winning 2024 manifesto pledged preventative public health measures, and policymakers said their quest for longer, healthier lives starts with smoking. The manifesto read, Labour will ensure the next generation can never legally buy cigarettes and ensures all hospitals integrate opt-out smoking cessation interventions into routine care. Labour will ban vapes from being branded and advertised to appeal to children to stop the next generation from becoming hooked on nicotine. Well, better than being hooked on chronic. Setting out their legislative agenda in the King's speech in July, ministers promised to table a tobacco and vapes bill to progressively increase the age at which people can buy cigarettes, similar to a bill of the same name tabled by the previous Conservative administration earlier this year to ban shopkeepers from selling cigarettes to anybody born in 2009 or later. Imagine if you're like, you cannot sell imagine if you increase the age of something crazy like 30. You can't smoke until you're 30, okay? That when you're having your midlife crisis, that's when you can start smoking. Perfect time to pick it up.
Right.
What about plans for bans on cigarettes in pub gardens? The government has not announced an extension of the indoor smoking ban into outdoor spaces, but The Sun, which is basically a tabloid, reported leaked secret Whitehall papers featuring this plan. Smokers face a ban on using cigarettes in pub gardens, restaurant terraces, near sports stadiums, pavements near universities. I mean, Yeah, pavements near universities, that's going to be a bit hard. And I think towards hospitals, that should be a hands down obvious thing. Why are you smoking near a hospital? That's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Especially, I understand like being a nurse and a doctor is very stressful. And some people use cigarettes as some sort of relief. But it's so weird to me to see like nurses smoking in the back of the hospital somewhere. Like, what are you doing? Like, walk across the street, go to the gazebo across the street, smoke over there. But don't smoke outside of the hospital where people are like entering the hospital. And shisha bars, according to the newspaper. Broadcasters had the opportunity to quiz the Prime Minister about claims in Paris, the French capital hosting the Paralympics, and he did not rule them out. It's not impossible that it could happen, but it's going to be hard to regulate, I think. Where is smoking already banned in the UK? Authorities in England, Northern Ireland, Wales banned indoor smoking in 2007, with Scottish authorities bringing in a ban the previous year. Haha, Scotland wins again. They did it before everyone else. The law applies to enclosed workplaces, public buildings, and public transport, which includes pubs. Ministers gained power to ban smoking in private cars in 2014, particularly where a person under the age of 18 is in the vehicle. Drivers or passengers who smoke in cars with anyone under 18 inside could be fined £50 in England and Wales, with similar laws in Northern Ireland and Scotland. New Zealand's government tried to ban the sale of tobacco products to anyone born after January 1st in 2009 and passed the Smoke-Free Environments and Regulated Products Smoke Tobacco Amendment Act of 2022, but the change was appealed by a new government before it could come into effect from January 2027. The city of Carlsbad, 32 miles north of San Diego in California, planned to ban smoking and vaping in and around apartments, condos, care facilities, and other multi-unit homes, except for certain designated outdoor spaces from January next year. Yeah, I can agree with this, because when you're smoking and your secondhand smoke is getting everywhere, the people in your apartment building didn't ask for it. The people in your condo, smoking on your balcony goes into other people's houses. Like, genuinely, I feel like there should be a designated smoking spot in every place, and you guys can just go over there and pollute the air over there. Maybe they can make some sort of, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything that actually consumes nicotine smoke to clean the air, because it's just awful. It's an awful, terrible thing that you don't ask for. There's no consent. What is the link between smoking and hospital admissions? Well, I think this should be obvious, but let's look at it anyways. According to the charity Action on Smoking and Health, ASH. Wow, that's a great ASH. Smoke-free legislation in England resulted in 1,200 fewer emergency admissions to hospital for heart attacks, a reduction of 2.4%, in the 12 months after it was implemented in 2007. So that was just 12 months. The NHS England press release dated December 2023 highlighted a total of 408,700 smoking-related hospital admissions happened in 2022 to 2023. This was almost up 5% of the 2022 3,809,800,000. But below that, they're below the 2019-20 figure from before the COVID-19 pandemic, which was 446,400. So almost 500,000 people are going to the hospital in England every year due to smoking. But it's totally fine, guys, and it doesn't cause any problems. Around 1 in 6, 60% of all hospital admissions for respiratory disease in 2022 to 2023 were estimated to be related to smoking, while it also causes 8% of all admissions for cancers and 7% of all admissions for cardiovascular disease, it read. So, as we talked about this before on the show, cardiovascular disease is one of the leading causes for death for most people in the world. But in England, more people were going to the hospital for 16% were going to the hospital for respiratory disease because of smoking, which is way more than the 7% of admissions for cardiovascular disease, which is the most deadly disease in the world. So yeah, smoking problem in England, at least, from these statistics. Smoking is the UK's single best preventable killer and costs the NHS and the economy an estimated £17 billion a year, according to the government. So who supports and opposes this measure? YouGov asked about 3,715 adults in Great Britain about pub gardens and outdoor restaurant smoking ban on the 28th, which was Thursday, and pollsters found that 58% of British adults would either tend to support or strongly support those measures. So that's almost 60%. Just over a third, 35%, said they tend to oppose or strongly oppose the idea. And I guess everyone was kind of like, I don't care, or slightly agree, I guess. Liberal Democrat leader Sir Ed Davey told BBC Breakfast on Thursday, the question is, are they, Labour, getting the balance right? He had earlier said, I think we'd have to look at the details. I mean, we've got to be careful in going over the top, but of course there's a case for making sure we can encourage people to stop smoking. Tim Martin, who founded the J.D. Wetherspoon pub chain, told the PA news agency, the question is whether the government should interfere into individual liberties where danger is involved, and added, I don't think it will have a big effect on our business one way or another. Really a libertarian issue. I don't think it is. You're in a public space. You don't have any freedoms. I remember in my government class in high school, my teacher told me, what freedom is being able to do things that don't affect anybody else's freedoms. So my freedom to breathe free air or fresh air is being denied by smokers' freedom to smoke wherever the hell they want. See, you're encroaching on my freedoms. Hence, it's not freedom. It's becoming oppressive.
I should be able to fart wherever I want.
Yeah. Yeah, you can fart where... Yeah, farting wherever you want. To be fair, that's more of a... I mean, smoking in public spaces should be the same as farting in public spaces. It's embarrassing and you shouldn't be doing it. You don't want anyone to know, you know? You don't want... who smelled it,
even make
you know?
fart noises.
There's a reason it's shamed in society to fart in public because, yeah, it's, you know, people don't want to be smelling your farts. I don't want to be smelling
Get
your
on a crowded elevator,
smoke.
just make the fart noise and people shun you. Anyway.
Conservative Shadow Health Secretary Victoria Atkins wrote on Twitter, we want to protect our children from taking up smoking and vaping. Our smoke-free generation legislation was designed to do that. Stopping adults from smoking in the open air, however, was not part of our plans. Labour is putting our hospitality sector at risk in the... Shut the fuck up. Oh no. You know what? I'm not going to go to restaurants anymore because I can't smoke there. Like, what? Why you go... That's the reason... I'm not going to go to the pub anymore because I can't smoke in the garden anymore. That's not the reason people go to pubs is to smoke. They go to pubs to drink. They go to restaurants to eat. Right? If you need to go hang out and smoke somewhere, I guess somebody can open up a smoking den. I'm sure those exist. They exist here in the Netherlands. Or at least they used to. I don't know if they still do, but there's plenty of bars you can go to that are just, you walk in there and it's just smoke in there. And that's where you can do it. There. You know? I'm just saying.
Hookah bars. Go to a hookah bar.
Open a smoking bar. The
special
hospitality sector. Like, we're forgetting what the hospitality sector is selling. And it's not smoking spaces. That's not what they're selling. Place to smoke. I mean, unless you're a smoking bar.
Yeah, let me go in.
What did you want to say?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Shadow Business Secretary Kevin Hollenreich claimed Labour talk a good game on supporting pubs in opposition, but when in power they do otherwise. Oh yeah, you're not supporting pubs because they can't smoke there. What? Like, yet again, maybe I'm not a pub goer, but I guess comment down below or let me know. As a pub goer, are you going there explicitly to smoke, or is that like a side thing while you're getting drunk? Because for me, it sounds like it's a side thing. It's not a necessity. I need to be able to smoke and drink at the same time. That sounds... You know what? Sure. Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, has run London's nightlife into the ground. And now this shocking government plan to ban smoking in beer gardens and terraces, which will mean many more will close their doors for the last time. I used to go to my local corner pub, but then the UK government banned smoking outside. I mean, this is like, the argument here is like, Okay, so did all the pubs close because they banned smoking in 2007? You know, no, they didn't, did they? But, you know. And also, it's not like it's good weather in the UK. It's like there's good weather days in the UK, but acting like 90% of the time people are outside smoking in the garden, that's not happening. Most of the time people are inside because it's fucking raining and it's cold. What do you mean? You know, oh, the government's bad because I want you to vote for me in the next election. Reform UK leader Nigel Farage lit up on Benson and Hedges outside the Westminster Arms near the House of Parliament and hailed smokers the heroes of the nation in terms of the amount of taxation they pay. Aha! Keep smoking those ciggies because we tax you on every time you buy them. It's true. That's what they do. They put tariffs on cigarettes and the government cashes out. So if you're anti-government, stop smoking because you're just giving the government more money. But in that news, I want to look quickly at the drama, not just from there, but this is the big drama with the smoking ban. This is from Josh Carmichael on the Scotland Herald, sorry. A Tory MP has been branded repugnant after using a poem about the Holocaust to liken it to Labour government's proposed smoking ban. MP for Tatton Esther McVeigh posted a 1946 poem by Martin Niemöller titled First They Came, adding the pertinent words re Starmer's smoking ban. The poem includes lines like, they came for the Jews and they came for me. Well, actually, let's just read the actual tweet here. First they came for the communists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a communist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out, because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. Printing words, re Starmer's smoking ban. Yeah, that's right. Then they came for the smokers, and they told you to stop smoking. That's it. That's all they did. They didn't take you anywhere. They didn't put you in handcuffs. They just told you to stop, or they were gonna fine you money. Not exactly the same thing.
It's just like the Holocaust, is it? It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
No, it's just wearing masks in stores was compared to the Holocaust a couple years ago.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
McVeigh, a former cabinet member for the
the same.
A former cabinet member for Common Sense has been slammed by politicians and the Board of Deputies of British Jews for the thoughtlessness comparison, and she is being urged to apologize immediately. The board said in a statement, the use of Martin Niemöller's poem about the horrors of the Nazis to describe a potential smoking ban is an ill-considered and repugnant action. We strongly encourage the MP for Tatton to delete her tweet and apologize for this breathtakingly thoughtless comparison. Labour Health Secretary Wes Streeting added that the former minister needs to get a grip for comparing a ban on smoking to the genocide of an entire religious race. He also pointed out that a similar ban on smoking in specific areas was in McVeigh's party manifesto. He posted on Twitter, "No, I don't think the post-war convention of Martin Niemöller about the silent complicity of the German intelligentsia and clergy in the Nazi rise to power is pertinent to a smoking ban that was in your manifesto and ours to tackle one of the biggest killers." The executive director of the Jewish Council for Racial Equality branded the comments utterly tasteless. However, McVeigh responded to the criticism by probably double downing. It was ridiculous for anyone to suggest she was making the comparison. She said, "Nobody's suggesting that banning smoking outside pubs can be equated with what happened to the Jews at the hands of the Nazis. It is ridiculous for anyone to even suggest that I was doing that." Okay, go take a literary class, because I don't think you understand what you were doing. You were doing an allegory there. And, I'm pretty sure everyone understands the point I was making and knows that no offense was being intended and no equivalence has been suggested. Then just say, "Wow, the smoking ban makes me feel bad and I wish it wasn't happening," instead of using a poem from the Holocaust. Like, hello? You don't have to do that. You can just say, "I'm disappointed and I don't like it." And you don't have to use any poetry. You don't have to use any other people's written work. You can just say the words straight out. No metaphors necessary. She stated she would not be bullied into removing the social media post by people who are deliberately twisting the meaning of my words and finding offense when there was none was intended. Well, it doesn't matter what you intend. Offense is a subjective thing. The news of the proposed smoking ban came after leaked proposals reported by The Sun. We already covered that, most of this. But, this is just a little additive to that story of just, wow. You're just completely don't understand how anything works in the world. Just apologize, delete the tweet, and shut up. Because it doesn't matter what you said. It doesn't matter what you intended, because it's just the result. And the result is a lot of Jews were insulted, and you should apologize to them, because you didn't mean to insult them, right? You didn't mean to insult the Jews, right? That's my story.
Just say, I was thoughtless. Get on with your life.
Exactly. Repugnant and thoughtless.
Speaking of thoughtless, let's go to workplace violence, I guess we call it. Or workplace ignorance or something. This is from DenverPost.com. I got a cough, right? As soon as I'm on camera, I got a cough. DenverPost.com, Lauren Pennington, hiker left behind on mountain by co-workers during office retreat, stranded overnight amid freezing rains and high winds. A group of 15 office workers left Friday morning for Mount Schiphol summit in Chaffee County, but only 14 returned, search and rescue officials said. One hiker was left behind on the mountain summit, stranded as storms passed through the area, buffeting him with freezing rain and high winds. They caused him to fall dozens of times while attempting to escape the mountain, according to Chaffee County Search and Rescue South officials. The 15 hikers were on a work retreat and left the Blanks Cabin trailhead at sunrise Friday morning, with one group attempting to reach the summit and another ascending the mountain's saddle and returning from there, search and rescue officials said in a statement on social media. And what might cause some awkward encounters at the office in the coming days and weeks, one member of their party was left to complete his final summit push alone, search and rescue officials said. Yeah, let's teach our people about teamwork by abandoning a guy. That's right. The man who reached the peak of Mount Schiphol around 11:30 a.m., but when he returned to descend the mountain, he became disoriented when he found that the group had picked up the belongings being used as trail markers as they hiked down before him, according to the search and rescue officials. Oh, let's put these trail markers out. But hey, let's take them back with us, because who wants these trail markers?
Has anyone ever heard of this thing called the buddy system? It's where you always have one buddy with you, and you know where they are. It's like a rule of hiking.
This whole exercise is supposed to. Yeah, all these exercises are done to increase teamwork. That's the whole premise of the whole thing. He tried to make his way down the mountain, but he quickly turned around and found himself in the steep shoulder and scree field on the northeast slopes of Schiphol Lake, search and rescue officials said. He sent his location to the co-workers already descending and further down the mountain, who informed him that he was on the wrong route and that he had to climb back up the slope and find the correct trail. Fuck you, buddy. We're not going to come look for you. We're out of here. The abandoned hiker finally reached the correct trail around 3:30 p.m. and texted his co-workers that he was back on course when a strong storm passed through the area with freezing rains and high winds, pushing him back off course and causing him to lose his cell phone signal. And search and rescue officials said, I don't think freezing rains and high winds cause your cell phone signal to do anything. That's just nonsense. After hours of waiting, the 14 co-workers who had descended on the mountain with other final hiker called Chaffee County Search and Rescue and teams, including 2 hasty teams and a drone pilot, were deployed to search the mountain around 9 p.m. The concept of hasty team is an initial response team of 2 or more well-trained, self-sufficient, highly mobile searchers and or rescuers whose primary responsibility is to check those areas most likely to produce a subject first, according to the La Plata County Search and Rescue. The teams are usually familiar with the terrain and able to search the area quickly and efficiently. Working for the man's last known locations, team focused on clearing the trail and drainage areas. During the night, the high winds and freezing rain made reaching the summit unsafe and presented many difficulties for the drone operator, search and rescue officials said. A helicopter team also searched from above was unable to find the man. Around 9 a.m. Saturday, crews from the El Paso Search and Rescue, Fremont Search and Rescue, the Western Mountain Rescue Team, Chaffee County Search and Rescue, North Park County Search and Rescue, Keller County Search and Rescue, Arapahoe Rescue Patrol, Division of Fire Prevention, and Control, Canyon Helitrack, and Colorado Search and Rescue joined the manhunt. As teams began entering the field for a large search effort on Saturday morning, the missing hiker regained enough cell service to call 911, and search and rescue officials said. The man was found above North Fork drainage in a gully below a Spirit Point. He told search and rescue officials that he had fallen at least 20 times on the steep slopes during the storm, and after the last fall, was unable to get back up. The 10 agencies in the field worked together to extract the man from the gully. After stabilizing and evacuating the hiker, transported the hiker to the hospital for further care. The full extent of the man's injuries was not available on Tuesday. The hiker was phenomenally lucky to have regained cell service when he did, and still have enough consciousness and wherewithal to call 911. Search and rescue official said. Though he was located in a tertiary search area, it would have been some time before teams made it to that location on their own. So good news that he didn't die. Not so good news for this young lady at Wells Fargo Bank. This is from UPI.com. Doug Cunningham. It says, 4 days after Arizona bank worker died, her body discovered in work cubicle. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Arizona bank
crazy.
employee Denise Prudhomme, 60, died at work and her body wasn't discovered in her work cubicle until 4 days later. Police in Tempe, Arizona said Thursday there was no evidence of foul play. I mean, banks got cameras everywhere. So, police said she scanned into work for Wells Fargo job on August 16th.
Oh,
Security
Wells
at the building
Fargo?
found her dead in August. Well, it's no reflection on the bank itself that the workers are selfish and self-centered in their own little world. Security at the building found her dead August 20th. Wells Fargo said in a statement, "We are deeply saddened by the tragic loss of our colleague in our Tempe office. Our thoughts and prayers are with her family and loved ones during this difficult time. Counselors through our Employee Assistance Counseling Service are available to support our employees. We are fully cooperating with the Tempe Police Department with the investigation and would direct all further questions to them." I can see the police department watching 4 days of video, right, of people walking by your desk with no curiosity whatsoever, right?
Like nobody,
Just,
like there's
what's that
nobody
smell?
checking the floor to make sure everyone's gone home. Like none of that.
Unbelievable.
Right?
Unbelievable. She could have stayed behind and robbed the place. It wouldn't even. The investigation and circumstances of her death is ongoing, but it's not yet clear how she could have gone unnoticed for days. NBC News reported that an anonymous Wells Fargo employee told KPNX that Cowoker found Prudhomme dead at her desk while walking around the building. Several workers in the building had smelled foul odor, but thought it was just bad plumbing. Of course, one of the last things you do when you die is evacuate your bowels. So that probably happened and sat there for 4 days. Ooh. People are just, humans, what is wrong with them? Anyway,
I don't. It's just
a
so
worker
weird
quoted
to me.
honestly told Tempe's 12 News, "It's really heartbreaking. I'm thinking, what if I were just sitting there? No one would check on me?" Yep, that's exactly right.
You just found out where you work.
More popular, right? Or maybe just nobody hated you enough to care. Who knows? Wells Fargo workers said the building has around-the-clock security, and Prudhomme should have been found sooner. That's the scary part. Of Wells Fargo employee told 12 News. That's the uneasy part. It's negligence in some part. In some part, it's complete negligence. Again, this woman didn't have the family checking on her, so maybe the family was just, very extended family. That's a sad case. You die at work, and even the people at work don't even notice. So, there's your story on humans being, first of all, abandoning a guy in a mountain and saying, "Find your own way down. You got a cell phone." It's like, okay. Team building, folks, team building. So that place is going to fall apart, discipline-wise. You can imagine all those people looking for new jobs. And
Team
working at Wells
building
Fargo.
has failed, basically.
Not all it's cracked up to be. There's a job opening in the Tempe office, though.
But I maybe I'm old or something, but I thought, I've never worked in an office, but I thought offices were like a place where, like people go, hey, I'm leaving, see you tomorrow. And, you know, there's a janitor who maybe vacuums the floor or Swiffers it or whatever. And they go...
It's a continuing alienation of humans. We're turning into machines and being treated like machines. So what do you expect? Anyway, I don't have a video. Maybe I'll just have to gavel it out today.
And what's even...
Hey, look, there was nothing
What's even
good.
crazier is that nobody was called. Like, did she not have family members? So, like, nobody was like, ding, ding, hello.
If you're 60, probably maybe all of her siblings are either not. Her siblings are probably old. They're not going to check on her every day.
Yeah.
She doesn't have any kids or grandkids. They're not going to check on her. So yeah, it's totally plausible. Shit, I'm 60. Nobody checks on me. I got kids. I'm just kidding. I do.
I mean, every time you don't answer my, like, those times you didn't answer my phone calls after, like, 2 hours, and I was like, just call me when you wake up. I was like, did this guy die in his sleep? What the fuck is he answering my calls? And it's just like, oh, the internet is just disconnected and not working. Okay. He's not dead. I'm like,
anyway, I don't have a video for you.
Can you check to make sure Dad's alive? Because he's not answering his phone.
I'm barely alive. I mean, my brain is alive.
You're still going. You're still
anyway, I didn't send you...
Yeah.
As I've been trying to say, I haven't sent you a video, so maybe just gavel it out. I didn't.
Yeah, we can gavel it out.
Just gavel.
We can gavel it out. It's Friday, so that's the day. Oh, we have a person in chat here from Starkill. He said, "Well, if it happened on a Friday, and then you wouldn't know until Monday. That's how business bank contact centers work, Monday, Friday. But it should have been flagged on the system. Yeah, I agree. It should have been flagged in the system. Wait, this person never clocked out. They're still working for."
Not to mention, banks have cameras everywhere because of the money.
Exactly.
Yeah, money everywhere, so they got cameras everywhere. And they can afford the security to walk around and check every place. So, banks have money.
Negligence.
They have lots of it. That's where all of it is kept. Yeah,
they've got to work for that, and that's negligence.
Part of the employer.
Okay.
And don't forget, Wells Fargo will get a settlement. They will get an insurance policy on the employee.
Yeah, of course.
They will get paid off.
Don't feel bad about corporations. They have insurance on you.
They'll be fine. Banks. Oh no, the bank. Oh no.
Okay, so I don't have a really good segue into this next story, but let's talk about. We were talking about, I think Tuesday. We're talking about the reunion of Oasis, and we've got a story here from Morrissey, who tried to reunion the Smiths, but it didn't work out with Johnny Marr. This is from Mark Brown on The Guardian. Morrissey has claimed he accepted a lucrative offer this summer for a Smiths reunion, but Johnny Marr ignored it. Okay, so he got offered. Like, somebody was like, yo, let's do a show with the Smiths. And then he's like, okay, I'll go ask Johnny Marr. And then Johnny Marr was like, nah. Social media has been buzzing this week since Noel and Liam Gallagher announced they were getting back together for the Oasis concerts in 2025. Two brothers who despise each other with such vitriolic passion can get back together for good music. Asked fans, why can't Morrissey and Marr? Well, maybe it's because they're not brothers. I think being brothers, they were forced to see each other all the time. So then you're like, okay, we have to actually not hate each other's guts. But if you're not related, you can just ignore that person for the rest of your life, I would argue. You can never see them again. There's no reason you would ever see them. You don't have a grandma that's like, come on, guys, get in the photo. On the 29th of August, or yesterday, Morrissey, 65, posted a statement on its website saying, in June 2024, AEG Entertainment Group made a lucrative offer to both Morrissey and Marr to tour worldwide as the Smiths throughout the 2025. Morrissey said yes to the offer. Marr ignored the offer. Why is he talking in third person on his own website? The statement added, just Morrissey things. The statement added, Morrissey undertakes a largely sold-out tour of the USA in November. Marr continues to tour as a special guest to New Order. Okay, we get it. Morrissey's very cool. This is why you guys can't reunite. Even the freaking you're still taking jabs. Marr, who's 60, has not yet responded. But earlier this week, when a Smiths fan posted on Twitter, if Oasis can do it, the Smiths can too. I'm delusional. The guitarist replied with a photograph of grinning Reform UK leader Nigel Farage with a pint in hand. I think he's agreeing with them. Yeah, you're delusional. The Smiths aren't getting back together. The Smiths, who formed in Manchester in 1982, are regarded by many as the greatest band of their generation, with Morrissey the best lyricist and Marr the top guitarist. Marr left the band in 1987, and he and Morrissey have since achieved successful careers. Morrissey has long lost his criminal, vulgar shyness, stretching and often breaking the patience of fans with controversial pronouncements on politics, including once expressing support for the far-right For Britain Party. He also said Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, cannot talk properly, that even Tesco would employ the Labour MP Diani Abbott, and that halal meat is evil. And the modern loony left seemed to forget that Hitler was left-wing. Okay, what is he talking about? Halal meat just means they prepared
Hitler was
the meat
left-wing? Okay.
Yeah, he's
Anyway.
In an interview 2 years ago, Marr revealed it had been 18 or maybe 15 years since he last spoke to Morrissey in person. He also said there was zero chance of them getting back together. Yeah, I can see why. I wouldn't want to go on a tour with Morrissey either. He's just going to be talking about fascism to me. Shut up, Morrissey! Go sing! Write some lyrics and shut up. Stop talking to me. On the reunion question, his previous position was, I would rather eat my own testicles than reform the Smiths. And that's saying something as a vegetarian. Well, is it anti-vegetarian if it's cannibalism? Self-cannibalism? I don't know. There's a question for you guys in the comments, in the chat. Is cannibalizing yourself anti-vegetarian? I'd say it's the most vegetarian because you're only harming yourself.
It's not vegetarian at all, unless you're a vegetable.
Anyways, there's my news from the
vegetable in
Smiths not getting back together. Yeah. Supposedly Starkill is eating vegetarians. So report him to the police, or them, sorry, to the police. Basel.
Maybe listen to a Smith song.
Yeah, makes you want.
Still going?
Smith, sorry, what were you gonna say?
Maybe listen to a Smith song to cheer yourself up. All right, that ain't gonna work. There's no cheerful Smith song. Anyway.
Smith's hater over here. Okay. In Eurovision news, right, we're already talking about that, even though it only happened a couple months ago. But Basel in Switzerland who's the third biggest city, has been picked to host the Eurovision 2025. This is from Euronews Culture. Basel in Switzerland will be the next host. The competition organizers have announced today. Following Swiss singer Nemo's victory in Malmö at this year's competition in Sweden with their song The Code, the mountainous nation took over hosting duties for 2025. It's the third time that Switzerland had won the competition after Lise Assia in 1956 and Celine Dion in 1988. Host broadcaster SRG SSR and the EBU will host the 69th Eurovision Song Contest in May 2025. Nice. The competition will be held in the St. Jacobs Halle, an arena in Muckenstein, just outside of the city of Basel. The arena is typically used for sports and concerts and has a capacity of 12,400, following renovations in 2018. Semifinals will be held on Tuesday, the 3rd of May, and Thursday, 15th of May, with the grand final taking place on a Saturday on 17th of May. The EBU is thrilled that Basel has been selected as the host city for the Eurovision Song Contest 2025. The contest was born in Switzerland in Lugano back in 1956, and it's great to be bringing back to its birthplace almost 70 years later, said Martin Osterdahl, executive supervisor of the Eurovision Song Contest. Basel's strategic location at the crossroads of Europe make it the ideal setting for an event that celebrates the power of music to connect people across borders. Osterdahl continued. Following contests in the Italian and French-speaking parts of the country in 1956 and 1989, we're also exciting to bring Eurovision Song Contest to German Switzerland for the first time. Yay! So now all three languages can just go at it. Because that's what Switzerland is, just a huge, probably one of the only countries that has like 3 languages people speak. Switzerland hosted the first ever Eurovision Song Contest in 1956 in Lugano. They won the inaugural competition with the song Refrain, performed by Lise Assia. The next time Switzerland won was in 1988, when the competition was held in Dublin, Ireland. Canadian singer Celine Dion was victorious with the song Ne partez pas sans moi. Following Dion's win, Switzerland hosted the competition in 1989 in Lausanne. This year, Switzerland won for the third time with Nemo's impressive vocal and acrobatic performance on the song The Code. Nemo made history as the first non-binary performer to represent Switzerland and the first to win the competition. Konradin Kramer, president of the government of Basel, said, "It is a great honor for Basel to be able to host the world's biggest live music event. We are looking forward to this fantastic opportunity to present Basel to the world as a cosmopolitan city of culture in the heart of Europe. As an open city in the border triangle of Germany, France, and Switzerland, we overcome borders of all kinds every day. This fits in perfectly with the Eurovision Song Contest. We are already looking forward to welcoming our guests from all over Europe. Welcome to Basel," Kramer added. Tickets are expected to go for sale for 9 shows, including dress rehearsals, and in the coming months. Yet again, I'll go my small little rant about Eurovision and how I miss the days when people didn't want to win it because you didn't want to spend the money on actually having to, rent out an arena, make infrastructure to support the thousands of people who are going to be coming to your city. But now it's reversed and people are happy to have it happening in their city because I guess they get a lot of tourist money from that. So I guess keep your eyes on the headlines for the tickets going for sale if you want to see. I've heard Basel's a really great place. My housemate went there, Robert. I don't know when, but he went there and it was really beautiful. And yeah, it is more of a cultural city, I believe. So good news for that. If you want an excuse to visit Basel, right there. Eurovision Song Contest, I guess. The competitions don't mean anything, yeah. But that's my stories. On to this day in history.
Okay, then. More Eurovision Euro stuff. And this day in history, 1282, the Aragonese landed at Trapani in support of the Sicilian revolt against Charles I, the Angevin king of Naples, Sicily, which had begun with the Sicilian Vespers, a massacre of the French. That's a really convoluted sentence. 1800, Gabriel, an African-American bondsman, assembled an army of about 1,000 enslaved people outside Richmond, Virginia, in the first major slave rebellion in U.S. history. Alerted government officials thwarted the revolt in Gabriel, and others were executed. Yeah, because slavery was just a jobs program. Don't forget that. 1813, during the Creek War, some 250 frontiersmen were killed by the Red Sticks, a Native American faction. Doesn't say where this is. And what became known as the Fort Mims Massacre in retaliation on a militia led by General Andrew Jackson later destroyed 2 Indian villages. Red Sticks. Remember that's near Baton Rouge, which translates into Red Stick. Baton Rouge, maybe. I don't know. It just says the Creek War of 1813. And I know Andy Jackson was fighting in that area when he was a general because of the Battle of New Orleans. Anyway, in 1862, during the Civil War, America's Civil War, the Second Battle of Bull Run ended with a decisive Confederate victory. 1905, American baseball player Ty Cobb was born. He became one of the game's greatest defensive players, one of its fiercest competitors. He wasn't born, he made his major league debut, the Detroit Tigers, in this day in 1905. He was born a number of years before that. He was not born this day. Okay, 1918, Vladimir Lenin was shot twice in an unsuccessful assassination attempt. And he was later died, of course, a couple of years later. 1993, The Late Show with David Letterman debuted in which offered innovative and frequently off-the-wall approach to talk show format, debuted on CBS. Letterman's previous show, Late Night with David Letterman, had aired on NBC. 2003, Charles Bronson passed away. American actor Charles Bronson is best known for his portrayal of tough guys, notably in Architect turned Vigilante and Death Wish. He was also in a lot of other really good movies, like Once Upon a Time in the West. which is probably one of the best westerns. Not the motel. The actual best western movie of all time is probably Once Upon a Time in the West. He was also in a lot of western. I'm pretty sure he was in. Oh yeah, he was in Magnificent Seven.
Oh yeah,
so
that's a good one.
Death Wish. I don't know. I don't know if Death Wish is necessarily his best movie. 2015, British neurologist and writer Oliver Sacks, who won acclaim for his sympathetic case histories of patients with unusual neurological disorders, died in New York at the age of 82. Not New York, Ohio, but New York, New York. I like how they have to put New York, New York. Anyway. In 2021, following the chaotic withdrawal, the last U.S. troops left Afghanistan some 7 years after the war in that country had officially ended. And our featured event, 1983, historic spaceflight by Guyon S. Bluford Jr. U.S. astronaut Guyon S. Bluford Jr. became on this day in 1983 the first African American to travel into space, serving as a mission specialist aboard the shuttle orbiter Challenger, and later flew on 3 other missions. And of course, Challenger blew up at 1986. Yeah, 86. He wasn't on board when it blew up, though. In feature biography, Mary Shelley, the author of Frankenstein book. She was born August 30th, 1797 in London, and died February 1st, 1851 at the age of 53, also in London. Mary Shelley, happy birthday. Other birthdays today, Ernest Rutherford, British physicist born in 1871. Huey Long, American politician, former governor of Louisiana, who was assassinated. He was born in 1893. 1908 is the birthday of Fred MacMurray, American actor who was famous for a TV show called My Three Sons, which was a big show when I was a kid. Warren Buffett's birthday, one of the richest men in the world, American businessman and philanthropist, still lives in his old modest little house in Omaha, Nebraska, even though he's worth billions, and in fact hundreds of billions. He was born on this day in 1930, so happy 94th birthday to Warren Buffett. It helps to be rich, huh? You get to lead at least 90. Alexander Lukashenko, the president of Belarus, it's his birthday today. Lukashenko, turning 70. Happy birthday to you, autocrat. Way to go. Way to make it to 70. What other
I hope
days
this
is it
birthday
today?
you can finally get what you've always wanted.
What's that?
A fresh boot to lick.
Yeah, maybe Trump will he'll leave the country and go to Belarus. That's my thing. I think he'll be like, I want to be part of a Soviet satellite state. What other days is it today? It's National College Colors Day because football season is here. College football season is here for sure. Let's play some college fight song.
Yep.
Go, team, go! National Breach Day. National Breach Day. It's National Beach Day. It's also National Breach Day. It's National Beach Day. Get to the beach while it's still summer. Go out there and get sand everywhere. It's National Grief Awareness Day, which kind of goes with college football season. So many grieving people going, oh my God, it's football season. My husband's going to disappear into the television for 4 months. It's National Toasted Marshmallow Day. So if you like to toast your marshmallows, it's your day while you're at the beach watching college football. So those are your days for today. August, the last day we're going to do this in August. We won't see you again until September on Labor Day in the United States, which is Monday. So until we see you again, happy
See you next September.
National Beach Day on August 30th, 2024 on Before Toasted Marshmallow.
All right, this has been Allison here from the Netherlands. I hope you guys have a good Friday and a good rest of your weekend. And we will be back on Mucking Monday, everyone's favorite day of the week, where we'll cover everything that's gone over the weekend and on Monday. So take care out there, stay safe, keep your temperature regulated, wear sunscreen, and drink water. And let's gavel this shit out.
The chair declares the House in recess, subject to the call of the chair.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.